Hi, I'm Granny, and we're going down the rabbit hole of Nikola Tesla, his career, episode 1. In my earlier episode, I mentioned that many dozens, quoting other documents, of Tesla's ideas had been stolen and people had received Nobel Prizes as a result, such as electron microscopes, his development of the alternating current electrical system, the alternating current induction motor, which laid the foundation or groundwork of the modern power transmission. This list includes the cyclotron, a machine that uses electromagnetic fields to accelerate charged particles to high speeds. When Nikola was asked about this thievery because it had become well known, he responded, quote, "I don't care that they stole my idea. I care that they don't have any of their own." Nikola was responsible to the advancement of the electrical railroads, neon lights, and in one location I found the high-speed magnetic railroads can be tied to him. Wireless radio, X-ray, remote control, turbine engines, speedometers, helicopters. Remember the helicopter diagram he had in his early or maybe late childhood that he was experimenting with his mom? Remote control torpedoes and the cell phone technology we have today. He had plans and discussed them in 1901. Nikola Tesla proudly became a citizen of the United States in 1887, believing America was a place where he could freely, I'm not sure about that, freely pursue his scientific ambitions and innovations. More about that later. This was about the time when the War of the Currents was taking place. Who would win, an alternating current or direct current? The War of the Currents was a series of competitions between Thomas Edison promoting direct current and Nikola Tesla promoting alternating current, beginning in the late 1800s and ending in the early 1890s. So late 1880s and it ended early 1890s. Thomas Edison would put on public demonstrations to scare people away from alternating current by electrocuting feral cats, dogs, and at one time an elephant. Edison was well known for his underhanded and under-the-table payoffs, misinformation, reputation-destroying tactics. He was responsible for leaflets to be passed around, including articles in newspapers creating fear around alternating current. And since J.P. Morgan wanted a piece of the pie, he stepped in with his own smear campaigns, trying to eliminate all competitors. And that's a story in itself, how that all turned out. Thomas Edison, George Westinghouse, and Nikola Tesla were competing. Meanwhile, J.P. Morgan was buying up all these small companies, electric companies, creating what is now known as General Electric to solidify his position. Westinghouse approached Nikola, knowing that alternating current was the answer to the United States power supply problem. Nikola Tesla and George Westinghouse worked together beginning in 1888 until the successful implementation of alternating current power at Niagara Falls. And that came about because Nikola trusted George Westinghouse, who had proven himself over and over again and that he was trustworthy and could be somebody that Nikola could confide in. At this time, it required Nikola to hand over a lot of his patents for the alternating current because he was in a battle against J.P. Morgan, who had so much money. So Nikola, because he trusted Westinghouse, gave the patents for the polyphase system of alternating current and the induction motor to Westinghouse in the efforts to create all that power that was going to be coming over the Niagara Falls. Because Westinghouse knew he couldn't succeed without the trust of Nikola. In response, Westinghouse gave Nikola $216,000 in 1888 for those patents that I mentioned earlier, knowing it was far below their value, but it was all that he could afford to pay. Because of Nikola's trust and admiration for George Westinghouse, that went through. Nikola used this money to set up a laboratory in New York City. He performed many experiments in these labs, including developing the Tesla coil, investigating X-rays, and building a radio wireless controlled boat. The Tesla coil is a device that produces high voltage electricity. A Tesla coil has several parts, including a primary coil, a secondary coil, capacitor, spark gap, and power supply. They are found in almost all research labs today, and in one form or another in every radio or TV set. Nikola began experimenting with frequencies. He invented several machines that produced high-frequency electricity vibrations that could be felt hundreds of feet away. Nikola's laboratory burned down in 1895. The exact cause of the fire was not known. Some suspected that it was an electrical issue stemming from experiments with high voltage electricity. Nikola never believed that. He believed it was sabotage. And think of J.P. Morgan. Nikola demonstrated his radio-controlled boat at the 1898 electrical exhibition at Madison Square Garden. The boat was a world-first demonstration of radio-controlled technology. During this time, he began giving lectures internationally. He shared technologies to keep those using electricity safe, including insulation, oil immersion cooling, braided wire, and many other technologies recognized by electricians, never choosing to patent this knowledge in order to keep people safe. Again, wanting to share, not necessarily, well, he should have cared more about his financial future, but you don't see that at all. During one of these lectures in 1891, Nikola described how atoms worked like the solar system. Bohr and Rutherford got a Nobel Prize in 1913 for saying atoms were like a little solar system. In 1891, Nikola described light can work as a wave and particle. Albert Einstein got a Nobel Prize in 1921 for describing light working as a particle. Nikola believed humans were connected with unbreakable, invisible wires. He spoke about that, and I discussed it earlier. Nikola believed humans were connected with invisible, unbreakable wires, and had regular premonitions. He was at a meeting and felt prompted to keep a man busy talking so he would miss his train. He did this to keep him safe. That train was involved in an accident with many injured. Another time, he sensed his niece was not doing well and sent family to check on her, and he was right. While on an intensive lecture tour in Europe, friends were growing concerned because Nikola was exhausted. He was experiencing blackouts, amnesia, and he was encouraged to rest, so he did take some time. During one of these rest periods, he had a blinding vision. In that vision, he saw his mother floating before him, and he knew she was dying. He caught the first train he could and was able to spend several days with her before she died. She was a source of inspiration for him. This was in April 1892, and he describes that it broke his heart. He was deeply affected. This period was of significant emotional distress, withdrawal, further contributing to his obsessive behavior, and some believe his mental instability. Thanks for spending this time with me. Join me again when we go down the rabbit hole on Nikola Tesla. Thank you very much. Please share and subscribe. Thank you.